with computer auto. Hold on one second here. I'm getting a little message on my Zoom call. Make sure it's working. I'm going to test my speaker here to make sure that I've got everything working. And it looks like we're good to go. Okay, great. So everybody, my name is Andrew Mangeris. Oh, and then I went ahead and advanced it. We'll go ahead and go back one slide here. And see if we can't, there we go, show navigator. There, started off. We will have a kickoff call this Friday. Friday will be the 1st of February, and we will have our Vice President of Sales here in North America, Skylar Stephenson, who will be on that, as well as our founder and chairman, Mr. Kirk Hansen. I want to invite you to join them, and that will be Friday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about products tonight, and we're going to go into, there we go, into one of the ingredients in Sunset. And we've talked before about vitamin E and tocotrienols and the power of tocotrienols. We've also talked a little bit about vitamin D on one of these previous webinars. And one of the future ones, we're probably going to talk about the omegas that we use in here. But tonight, I want to talk specifically about vitamin A and the importance of vitamin A, or beta carotene, as we have it in our Sunset product. So with that, I want to show a little bit, and I've showed this before because vitamin D and vitamin A are two of the most prominent vitamins that are deficient in throughout the world. The NHA-NES shows here that up to 94% are estimated to be deficient in vitamin A. Of course, you can see there vitamin D and vitamin E and vitamin C as well. So let's talk a little bit about vitamin A and some of the importance of it. First thing, it is a lipid-soluble antioxidant, and that's why we put it in our Sunset, is because it's lipid-soluble. And this is the chemical structure of it. You can see all these methyl groups. The CH3, those are called methyl groups. Those are great antioxidants. But because it's lipid soluble, it's also able to penetrate and go into places that water soluble antioxidants are not. But it is a very potent antioxidant. And it's in the carotenoid family. And when you look at it from a color standpoint, it actually shows color of orange. And when you see a lot of these vegetables here in the color orange, main reason is because of beta carotene. Beta carotene has that color, and it gives it that dark orange. Sometimes it even gets into some of the reddish. And when you look at the capsules of Sunset, you'll notice that they are darker. And because we use beta carotene in them, you'll notice that it's a darker color, a darkish red color on those capsules, as opposed to a standard, maybe omega type product that you might see there. Okay. Here are some of the benefits of the vitamin A. You can see it supports here eye and vision health. A lot of people talk about it, and I'll show you some studies that have been done on that. It also supports mental health, helps promote healthy immune response, and supports healthy skin. And so we'll get into a couple of these and talk about some of those studies. Here are some of the different diagrams that we'll translate into some of the next slides. But first, I want to go to pubmed.gov. And if you ever want to learn about studies, go to pubmed.gov, because there you can see all of the published studies that have been done pretty much anywhere. If it's published somewhere, they have it on pubmed.gov, and it is an incredible resource. And I just pulled this up today because I wanted to get up-to-date information. I wanted to see how many studies have been done on beta carotene. And you can see there's over 12,000 studies that cite beta carotene in them. And so I just pulled that up so that you could see that it is very well researched, and a lot of long-term studies that we will get into. But before we get into some of those studies, I want to make sure that we show our disclaimer here. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition. We're offering this as educational purposes only this evening. The clinical studies that I will go through in this presentation, they address the impact of beta carotene generally and not any Kyäni product specifically. So these were done on beta carotene itself. So let's take a look and see what some of those studies are. This one is talking about the brain health that we have, and it was published in the Neurobiology of Aging journal, and it was over 4,000 participants over 18 years. So an extensively long study. And what was their conclusion? The conclusion is it linked consumption of beta carotene to the slowing of cognitive decline. Cognitive decline means your ability to think and the mental capacity that you have. As we get older, people start to get worried about Alzheimer's disease or being starting to forget things and not having the cognitive or brain function that they did when they were younger. Becomes a huge concern. So over 18 years here, what was the conclusion? That there is a link between beta carotene and the slowing down of that cognitive decline. So in other words, it helped to maintain your mental capacity. Pretty powerful study. You can see the reference there also down at the bottom. Let's look at a study that was done in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. And this was talking about the skin. And beta carotene, because it's a lipid soluble ingredient, it can penetrate and get to the skin, and it actually helps to protect the skin. And so one of the benefits of a lipid soluble ingredient like beta carotene is that it will get to places that you might not normally be able to reach. This study was done, and this is what their determination was. They said that the photoprotection through individual dietary components such as beta carotene or lycopene, which is another similar carotenoid, in terms of sun protection factor, is considerably lower than that achieved by using topical sunscreens. So they're showing that it actually protects from the sun. You get the UV, and if you go further into the study, it talks about how it has UVB and UVA protection from the sun when they did it. So getting more beta carotene means you're going to have more beta carotene in your skin, which means you'll have more protection in the skin. Now let's look at this. Beta carotene supports eye and vision health. Many people have talked about, well, if you want to have good eye health, make sure you eat your carrots. Carrots, as we know, have a lot of beta carotene in them. As a matter of fact, the term carotene is actually a Latin root word that has a similar basis as what a carrot does. So the similarities come together with those two. Let's look at some of these studies. Antioxidant, vitamin, and mineral supplements for preventing age-related macular degeneration. Macular degeneration is when your eyes, when the vessels coming into your eyes start to close off and you don't have the vision that you once had. And so you have some issues with getting, with blindness and being able to see well. And one of the things that has been studied quite a bit is how beta carotene helps that, helps the macular degeneration and helps the vision, because there's a lot of carotenoids that are found in the eye. And it was actually, I think, one of those reverse type of things. People, they started studying and dissecting what's in the eye, and they found that there's a lot of carotenoids. Well, maybe there's beta carotene, a relationship there that helps protect it, and there is. Second one here, a randomized placebo-controlled clinical trial of high-dose supplementation with vitamin C, E, beta carotene, and zinc for age-related macular degeneration. Again, talking about macular degeneration. And this is the AREDS, A-R-E-D-S, which is a pretty famous report that was done over a number of years, talking about the benefits of beta carotene. Next, an experimental treatment of ocular quinine toxicity with high dose of beta carotene. Again, ocular meaning your eyes, and helping to support the eyes. Conversion of beta carotene and retinal pigment. Retinal is what your retinal comes to the eye and the pigment of the eye, and helping that beta carotene actually gets converted into it. We know that beta carotene is a natural form of vitamin A. The body converts the beta carotene into retinol palmitate. which is technically the form of vitamin A that it actually uses as a finished good. But one of the differences between retinol palmitate and beta carotene is retinol palmitate can be, if taken directly, can be toxic. You can take too much. But beta carotene, the body will use and convert it as needed. And as well, beta carotene is an antioxidant, even if it doesn't get converted into retinol palmitate. Another one study here, age-related macular degeneration. And the last one here, beta carotene conversion into vitamin A in human retinal pigment epithelial cells. Epithelial cells, of course, are the blood vessel cells that come up into the eye. They're talking about it around the eyes and the benefit there. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some of the support for the immune system. You have here, dietary beta carotene stimulates cell-mediated humoral immune response. There's lots of benefits to the beta carotene with our immune system. Humoral immune response refers to the body's immune system there. Effective beta carotene and canthaxanthin and the immune response of rats. The effect of beta carotene supplementation on the immune function of blood monocytes from healthy male non-smokers. Blood monocytes are part of the immune system. So again, they're studying here, talking about how it helps increase the monocytes within our bloodstream. Beta carotene and selenium supplementation enhances immune response in aged humans. Another great study. Beta carotene and the immune response. Beta carotene's effect on serum lipoproteins and immunologic indices of humans. And then the last one, the final one, effective long-term administration of beta carotene on lymphocytes. Lymphocytes are part of your immune system as well that you find in your blood system. And actually, they're coming from your lymphatic system, but will be used in the immune response. So several different good studies here that were done on showing immune response. This right here was the National Institutes of Aging, which is within the National Institutes of Health, or NIH as most people look at it. And they did a compilation study over a meta-analysis over 29,000 individuals over 20 years and 33 separate studies to find out what are the benefits of carotenoids in the body. And so carotenoid, like beta carotene, and the result was higher carotenoid intakes were inversely associated with the presence of metabolic syndrome for all individuals. So inversely associated, meaning it's the opposite association of the presence of metabolic syndrome, meaning those who had higher concentrations of carotenoid were less likely to have metabolic syndrome. And that was for all individuals. So another thing, metabolic syndrome has become a big issue for people today and a big concern for people. So a great long-term study with lots of participants, done by a very reputable group of individuals here, the NIH. So those are just some of the studies that we wanted to cover this evening on beta carotene. I hope you've enjoyed it. Again, I just want to cover the usage of the triangle of health. Sunrise in the morning, use nitro before. Sunset in the evening, pretty easy to explain, pretty easy for people to use. And use nitro beforehand. And why do we recommend we use nitro before? Is because it helps to open up the blood vessels, help increase absorption. And if you want to get a good reference to the benefits of the nitric oxide, see the webinar that we did on nitric oxide and the benefits of nitric oxide and how it helps to assimilate and absorb the other nutrients in the body. Thank you guys for joining us. We will post this Wednesday webinar on our YouTube channel under the Wednesday webinar section. We will have another Wednesday webinar next week, and it will be on products again. And we're going to invite Dr. Andreas to be part of that from our scientific advisory board. And so we'll look forward to that. Again, Friday is the kickoff call, and that will be with our Vice President of Sales, Skylar Stephenson, and also our founder and chairman, Mr. Kirk Hansen. Thank you guys for joining me this evening. My name is Andrew Mangeris. I live and love Kyäni.